You are going to get 3 rolls on the tower.
Okay.
Whatever you roll, that is where we start question-wise, and then we'll go into the meat of our interview.
Okay, fantastic.
So 1 of 3.
Okay.
No, I thought you knew what a dice tower was. This
Wait,
way.
do I?
This way.
Wait.
The last time I had someone on, the dice went like back in the corner. It flew in the corner of the room.
It flew.
Yeah.
It flew.
Oh, you already got a Hazbin question. It's roll swap. If you had the opportunity to swap roles with another member of this ensemble, who would you pick and why? So you would have to do their role, and you would get to hear them do your role.
I would like to hear Kimiko Glenn play Charlie, and I would like to play Nifty. Yes. Just because, I mean, I have always had a dream to be like a woodland creature animation sidekick. Like, based on all the Disney movies where everybody had a sidekick woodland creature. Nifty kind of feels like the Helliverse version of that, so that's what I want to do.
Okay.
And I want her to do Charlie, because I think she'd probably crush it.
Give me, I'm putting you on the spot here, but I feel like you all know each other's parts very well.
We
Give
do.
me your single favorite Nifty line.
Stop, stop, stop.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
It's just, I imagine Kimiko must go into like a little like gremlin pose when she's recording. Oh God, that like hurts. That's hard to do. It hurts my neck to do. But that's what I envision.
Nifty speaks to me because I love horror. So like the stab, 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 if it all feels right. But also I'm like a little bit of an OCD neat freak and germaphobe. So all the cleaning, like I get that too.
I understand both sides of this human being deeply.
Serious, I genuinely do. Second roll in the tower now.
Dreams.
7. 7. Oh, okay. This was teed up quite nicely. This one is called Scream. One of my favorite movies of all time. There's only one question I could be asking now. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm like a classic person, so I really love The Shining. I'm like old school horror. Like the first scary movie I ever watched was Nosferatu, which is the German vampire, German Dracula movie. And it kind of like rocked my world just because it was so simple. And I think like horror movies now are incredible and what we've been able to do, but old school horror that's just about suspense is my jam.
I have so many follow-up questions.
Oh, ask away.
I want to know. I was about to like just ramble them all out. What do you think of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Are you a fan of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
I have not seen Are You Afraid of the Dark. Wait, are we talking about like old school Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Like
that was
original,
on like
90s.
Oh, great.
Because there's a Nosferatu-inspired episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark that's like burned in my brain for life.
Okay, this is what is so telling about like the world now. I assumed that you were talking about the reboot because I was like, yeah, I know like the OG version that used to be on like late at night that I would watch with my sisters, but there's a Nosferatu episode?
I feel, Tale of the Now I'm gonna mess up the title. There is a Nosferatu Are You Afraid of the Dark episode. It is still highly watchable to this day because I rewatch it a lot. And then Robert Eggers' Nosferatu comes out later this year. Your year is full.
This is really exciting. I have to go. I was like, I gotta go rewatch. We gotta go.
And
The Shining.
A Shining fan. Do you also like Dr. Sleep?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I had a feeling that was
Great
the case.
follow-up question.
Yeah.
I was like, yes.
I love Dr.
What's
Sleep.
yours?
Oh, well, Scream is my favorite. So Jurassic Park is my favorite movie of all time. Scream is my second.
Like, is Jurassic Park your favorite scary movie? I mean, Jurassic Park is kind of scary.
I maintain it's got horror to. I tend to not use the term horror a lot, and I say genre movies because I feel like people box horror into like one thing and one thing alone, whereas like Jurassic is an adventure movie, but it also technically is a monster movie, and a monster movie is a horror movie.
Jurassic Park is my favorite. I like to listen to the soundtrack to Jurassic Park while I'm hiking, and I turn it on and I like pretend that the dinosaurs are coming out. It's like
this makes all the sense in the world to me.
I was like, I live in an imaginary world like 50% of the time.
I want people to learn things from movies and like cautionary tales so badly. Jurassic is the one thing I'll never learn from because if I ever had the opportunity to like visit an actual Jurassic Park, I would go in a heartbeat.
Yeah, go immediately.
Anytime I see something, like people always send me articles all the time where it's like, they found DNA, they're gonna make a Jurassic Park. I'm like, yes, do it. Even though all these movies said that's wrong.
That sounds like a good idea. Let's go.
You're lucky I love your show so much because I could sit here talking about Nosferatu, The Shining, and Jurassic all day long. We really
went like a whole trifecta of like somehow we went from like Nosferatu.
I could feed off of this.
To the John Williams soundtrack of Jurassic Park.
One of the best soundtracks of all time.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best.
What do we got?
Wait, I got another. or 8? We have to re-roll. 2.
Yes, zombie apocalypse. I'm very excited about this one. So, I'm gonna, paint a picture for you right now.
Okay.
There is a zombie outbreak. You can pick 2 co-stars from Hazbin Hotel to team up with. Who do you pick that you think will give you the best chance of surviving the outbreak?
Okay, well, I can tell you that nobody would pick me if you asked them this question. No, they love me dearly, but they know I'd be useless in this situation. At least I think they love me dearly. Who would I pick? Okay. I would pick Keith David. I just think that there's some deep knowingness that Keith possesses that would just allow me to feel calm. Does he know how to start a fire, find, edible mushrooms in the woods? I don't know, but I still think I would just feel calm with Keith around. And then I would probably take with me, I'm really digging. I'm really digging deeper. I'm giving you a real answer. I'm okay,
I'll take it.
Who can swim fast? Who can run fast? Who's quiet enough? This is why nobody would pick me, because if they're the zombies in Quiet Place or the
creatures,
I'd be too loud. Yeah. I think the person that I would trust the most, I think it would be Amir. Amir's just very resourceful. He's a very good leader. We kind of call him dad sometimes because he just keeps us in line. I think he would be the person who, again, I choose Keith and Amir because I just think I would be an absolute mess. And I go, who would keep me calm in that situation? Do they have survival skills? I have no idea.
Okay.
But would they keep me calm? Yes.
So the follow-up to that, I need you to give yourself a little bit of credit.
Okay.
Let's say you are bringing one skill.
One thing to the table.
One skill to the table. What is it?
I think I could charm the zombies. I think
I love people who answer that question with that particular answer.
You're have you met a zombie? You cannot reason or charm a zombie. I could do that.
No, you can. Have you seen Warm Bodies? You can indeed.
That's what I'm saying. But this is where I'm cautionary tale. If that was supposed to be a cautionary tale to me, I'm no, I can do that. I can do that. That is what I would bring to the table. In terms of an actual skill set, because let's pretend conversation with a zombie is not a skill set. I can, I can identify birds pretty well. So I don't know if that would help, but at some point maybe that would be a beneficial thing as we're trying to survive in the wild. I would be able to figure out, if I hear that bird, that means that maybe water or food is nearby. I have yet to put that to the test.
Yeah,
but that is a skill.
I would love to see you try. I'm just curious if there's any actual rationale to this where it can be applied. I'm
right now it's just a special skill, but I do wonder if faced with the concept of I have to find water for us, would the bird call help? I think so.
It might.
So. I'm gonna give myself credit and say it
would. Try this on your next hike, and then next ladies' night you have to report back.
Exactly.
Did it lead you to water?
Did it lead you to water? Did it lead you to food? Did it lead you to anything that was beneficial for human survival?
And if it did, I will recruit you for my zombie survival team.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back for a new edition of Collider Ladies Night. One I am especially excited about because I've said this on many ladies' nights.
Yes.
I have a Hazbin Hotel problem. Erika Henningsen, hello. I'm so happy to meet you. Congratulations and thank you for the show.
Oh my gosh, it is my pleasure.
It's a problem. I can't stop rewatching and listening to the music.
There's something laced in the music in the episodes that's highly addictive because it's just asking for the rewatch over and over and over again. I don't know what it is. There's dangerous something that they've laced it with.
I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's an addictive thing. And it's clear that it's not just me. One of the greatest joys of the past couple of months has been going to fan conventions and seeing how quickly, instantly, all of that cosplay popped up.
Oh, it was wild. Yeah. Amir and Blake and I did a convention. It was maybe 3 weeks after it had dropped in January. Not even. It might have been 2 weeks. And we walked in. We said, is anybody going to want to say hi to us? You know, we thought we were going to be kind of like the weirdos in the corner, which we are still the weirdos in the corner.
Never stop being that way.
Never stop being that. But we were the weirdos in the corner who were greeted by all these incredible fans in full cosplay and niche cosplay, not just like Charlie and Alistair, but we had people dressed as Susan, dressed as Rosie. Like it was deep cut.
Susan's great.
Susan.
I need Susan's story next season.
I know. Hopefully we get just like a bottle episode in season 2 of just why is Susan the way she is. We shall find out.
What is the movie you saw, the performance you saw, personal experience you had that first made you say to yourself, I have to be an actor?
Ooh, I think the biggest one was I saw this production of Lion King in Los Angeles when I was 6 or something. And I just remember, again, I don't quite like, obviously I knew the plot of The Lion King at that point because I had watched the movie so often. But I think it was the live theatrical element. It was like figuring out how they did the stampede on stage and feeling anxious at having responses as a 6-year-old being like, oh my gosh, I feel anxious, or I feel excited, or I feel like there's danger afoot happening even as I know I'm in a theater sitting between my parents. That was kind of magical. That was the first time I was transported by something. And that was where, and I didn't even get that like those were actors on stage. I didn't understand that they were doing a job, so to speak. It was just, I don't know what this is, but I was outside on the sidewalk and now I'm in here and I'm feeling things related to this fake story, but the feelings are real. So I don't know what that magic is, but I want to be a part of it.
Oh, that's such a good answer. That's such a cool thing to have clocked so young, too.
Yeah, because I still remember it. I was like, I don't remember the songs, really. This could sound crazy. It was like this stampede moment in that feeling like actual danger and feeling my heart racing and caring about what happened, even though I knew how the story went and I knew I wasn't actually in the middle of a stampede on like the African savannah was mind-blowing.
It's the best thing about theater, movies, and television is like they give you the opportunity to feel things like that, but like in the safety of your own home, in a seat.
Exactly.
And it's like true magic that it can be brought to life quite like that.
It is magic. And it's something about the songs. I mean, obviously Hazbin has the songs that do that, but you're right. It's like the safety of somebody's own home or the safety of being on their couch or being next to their parents at a show. Like, something allows you to let your guard down in a way where you access feelings, or songs make you respond in a way where you're like, I didn't even know that was inside me. But here I am crying at this scene or this musical moment because you just feel safe because you're watching it happen in front of you, and that like gives you an access point to your own emotion.
It's such a beautiful thing to think about.
Yeah.
So that was the moment when you kind of recognize the interest in doing that. This might be a weird question for you to answer, but
there are no weird questions. Please ask me the weirdest ones.
I'll ask you a weird one right after this.
Okay, fantastic.
I feel like if you watch any Ladies' Night, you might know where this is going. But when I hear your work in Hazbin and when I hear you sing, there's something like my brain says like that's unreal. Like how can a human being do that? Did you have a particular moment early in your journey when you stopped and said to yourself like shit, like what I have is next level?
Oh God.
See, it's a weird question for you to answer.
I don't like, and again, this is not like fake humility, like, oh my God, no. Like, I'm aware that I can sing. I'm grateful that people have asked me to sing. I still feel like at any second, you know, it can all be taken away, or I don't know. To me, the thing that makes me go, oh shit, is when I get to sing a song. It's when I have that response that I had as like a 6-year-old, when I have that response of, I have to be the one who gets to sing this because I feel something when I hear the demo or when I hear the recording. Like I want my voice to be the one who like shares this with the world. That's the thing that happens. Not because I'm like, I sound so amazing, but because I just want, like, if it hits something in here, I'm like, oh, I need to let it out. I need to like do it and let people hear it from me. It's like it's a cathartic cycle, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, from the viewer perspective, like that feels like an accurate match. Like your voice and Charlie, just like I can't find the right words to explain why it's so perfect, but it is.
It makes sense. I am happy to hear you say that, and that is very affirming because when I got the songs and when I got our pilot episode, basically, or our episode 1, it was the first time I'd heard any of the music. And Sam and Andrew, who wrote the songs, I had never talked to them. We had never met before. And they gave me this song, and I just said, this is everything I've ever wanted to do in an I Want song, like a classic introduction to your leading character. And because, like, yes, I enjoy doing this sort of fun Disney stuff, but I love that, like, I get to drop an F-bomb at the end. And I love that she's feisty, and I love that she's, like, aggressive. It's just been so much fun. It feels sort of joyfully like when I walk in to record anything for Charlie now, it feels like just jumping into a second skin, so to speak. Not in like a horror movie way.
I mean, this is a safe space for horror movie talk. I'm fine with that. I promised you a weird question now.
I'm so excited. Oh no!
I'll give you my would you rather question.
Oh, okay.
Would you rather have to fake sneeze or fake vomit in a scene?
I would rather have to fake sneeze.
Okay.
Because I would worry, like, have you to fake vomit, like, elicits the feeling. But a sneeze is just simple.
We've already discussed with Nifty. I'm like OCD neat and clean. Like, I can't handle, like, my vomit, other people's vomit, no vomit.
Can't handle it.
But I always think if I were an actor, and I can't act for shit, but if I were, a convincing fake sneeze seems nearly impossible for me to produce.
Really? Wait, but people's sneezes are so all over the place. Like, people sneeze. My mother-in-law sneezes like, ah! Like she screams before. My mom screams 17. My mom sneezes like 16 times in a row. There's like I feel like vomiting, there's kind of like one way that it's viable. And sneezing, everybody sneezes like a thumbprint. It's like a fingerprint. Like it's so different.
That opens it up. That opens up like, there's like a range of possibilities.
Now I'm like trying to think, I'm like, how would
you do it?
If it's like a real like
You went big with that.
Something like that. Yeah.
I like that.
It's allergy season in LA. So like
I don't even have to do a fake sneeze. I have such bad allergies that I probably will sneeze like for real at some point.
I like walked in and I was like, I need eye drops because like my eyes look like I've been. Can I say that? It looks like I'm like smoking outside the studio, but I was like, it's just allergies.
You're on Hazbin Hotel. I
was going to say,
there's no limitations.
There's no limits.
All right, now I'm going from that back to a serious question because one thing I'm obsessed with talking about because a big part of Ladies' Night is showing that there's a million different paths to get what you want in this industry, and no one path is the right path. And one thing people feel obligated to do is go to school to study their craft. Yeah. You did. You got a BFA in musical theater from Michigan.
Which, is so unrelated to what I'm getting to do now. Yeah.
I want to know one thing you learned in that program that is very useful, that you still use to this day, but then also something that all the schooling in the world never would have prepared you for when you got your first professional gig.
I love this question so much because I work with a lot of young aspiring actors all the time. Like, I teach a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I always say, they're like, do I go to college? Do I move to New York? And I go, literally, I cannot give you that answer because where I've ended up is so not anything I ever could have dreamed of. And it's so unrelated to my training. But the thing that the training gave me, which I think is just a good thing for people in general, is it really honed in the concept of, and it's not related to craft, it was just related to how you present as a person. It honed in the concept of gratitude and not taking any job for granted. And that sounds like so dumb, and somebody listening would be like, well, I don't want to go pay for 4 years of school for that. But the element of being grateful for your job and not expecting the next one to come means that you treat every single thing with like its utmost importance. And even if you are I did jobs, the way I've gotten to be where I am is because no matter what I was doing, is that I treated it like this could be the last thing. And I still believe that, which is why when you asked that question of like, when did you think like you were like, I got this? I never, like, I do my best, and then I'm like, I will be fired eventually. But that was a huge thing that I got from school, the concept of gratitude. And then the thing that I learned just out on my own, failing and getting up again, was that nobody has all the answers, and we think that we're only capable of doing the thing that we went to school for. And we think like, if I don't have the degree, if I don't have the background in voice acting, if I don't have the dance training, if I don't have whatever, if I didn't go to school for journalism, then I can't do XYZ. If you have a specific vision, and this is what I wish school had told me, but I've honestly learned it from working with Vivienne. If you have a really specific original idea and you believe in it wholeheartedly and you pursue it to its nth degree, it might take a long time, but it will appear in the world in some way. And it not necessarily in the way that you expected, but so often I feel like people think that there's a map that they're supposed to follow. And I'm really inspired by our creator because I think she was like, there's no map. My idea is mine and I believe in it and I'm going to craft it and cultivate it and make it as good as it possibly can. And when the world is ready for it, they will be ready for it. And that is something I was not taught in school, the sort of like following your original impulses and ideas as opposed to trying to fit into the box of what's already been done. And that's, I'm still learning that, like trying to undo.
Never stop learning that, though. Because I feel like every time we break one mold, another one forms around you and you got to break it again and again and again in order for everything to keep growing and growing.
Exactly. And the gratitude thing that's never turned me
astray. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, and I feel weird saying it because it's not technical. It's just like...
But I think that's why it's so cool. Yeah. I feel like more often than not, a lot of these programs focus on the technical and not the...
Holistic.
The being a human being and feeling human emotions when you go on these journeys.
Yes, and remembering even when you do have this successful moment or whatever, like you're there because of 20 other people. Like, I am not getting to do this because I'm so good. It's because Viv, created something that I get to be a part of. And I'm grateful to her, and I'm grateful that people like it, and that I get to hopefully keep doing it forever and ever and ever.
I'm fine with that.
How many seasons can we do?
All the seasons.
But yeah, it's just it grounds you, I think. And that is something that I'm really grateful to my training to University of Michigan for, because they were really big on gratitude and knowing where you came from.
Love that. Yeah. So you get all that training, you have some other experiences. You make your Broadway debut in 2015 with Les Mis.
Yes.
Even with everything you had learned prior to that, what is something about what it takes to do a Broadway production that caught you by surprise?
It's so hard. I literally just started sweating. I'm like, if you asked me to do 8 shows now, I'd be like, gird your loins. Okay. What I learned was it was hard, but what specifically? I learned that your sister can drop off snacks during Act 2 and you're supposed to be dead, and that really helps.
That's important. That's very
really
important.
But specifically what I learned was... it's something I still carry with me is the reason I love theater, or the reason I love the entertainment industry at large, is that for the most part, it's a team sport with no competition, in the sense that you have to show up to your job and do your best, and nobody wins at the end of the day. We lose if we forget the team, but we win, or we do a good job or whatever, if everybody is trying to bring their best self. So for me, that was really interesting. I had a day where I just really did not feel like going on stage. I just not I was gonna go, but it just, nothing was firing, nothing felt good. I was not excited to be there. And a lot of times people in that moment will say, think about the audience, think about the one girl in the audience. And that is true. But the thing that helped the most was somebody came in and was like, think about your castmates who also had shitty days, who are also showing up here, who don't get to sing that really cool song that you get to sing. Do you want to let them down? And that actually helped the most. That was the thing that I took with me, because you don't know your audience. You know your cast, and you know how hard they're working too. And that was the thing that
beautiful thought.
Yeah. I'm so gooey. I'm trying to, did I learn anything? I learned a lot, but that was the biggest thing.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal, and it's a team sport. Even if you're the lead, it's still, everybody else is working sometimes twice as hard as you.
Yeah. I lived in Manhattan for a very, very long time. Didn't see nearly as many plays and musicals as I probably should have. Just recently, I started to go to more plays every time I go back east and visit my family. I just saw Enemy of the People and Appropriate, and
Sarah Paulson, Queen. Oh my God!
Another thing my brain can't compute is how damn good she is in that the whole production. But
she's aggressively good.
During the intermission, I vividly remember I went with my mom, and I turned to my mom and I'm like, isn't it crazy that they're doing this for us? Like, it's a thing that exists in this moment, in this room, and they're doing all of that for us.
And then we're going to go, and then they're going to do it again. Like, that actually doesn't get old. Like, I would have those moments being like, there are people who are spending their night for me to tell this fake story for them, and then we're going to go our separate ways, and then I'm going to do it again tomorrow for another group of strangers I don't know. It's wild.
It really is wild. So from Les Mis, I'll go to Mean Girls, of course.
Sure.
Because that was the first time you had ever originated a role for Broadway, right?
Yes, that was the first time I had originated. Yeah.
How does that change the game for you when you are starting a role and essentially creating a performance that will serve as guidelines for all the actors that follow you?
Ooh, there's a lot more creative license and responsibility, and then because of that, pressure. Like, I feel like I didn't even... It's because it's changing on the spot. You know, going into Les Mis, it's been done that way forever. Mean Girls was, we do a preview with one opening number on Tuesday, and then we change the opening number by Wednesday. So you're kind of just like in that scene in Land Before Time where, like, they're like, the earthquake is happening. Like, that's what it feels like. We were like, I just need, like, one patch of rock to stand on, and then it gives way again. That's, like, what it felt like. But the joy of that is, like, you just have to trust your impulses so much more. I think it's really easy when you were placed in a show to overthink, and you have so much time to think about and be like, how am I going to say this line? How am I going to do this? With Mean Girls, the lines changed for like 2 months of previews, and it was still kind of in flux even when we opened. So there was joy in being, for the first time, really asked to hone my actor impulse brain, and that is actually... That's the thing that I learned on the job the most that's like translated to the voiceover world. Like trusting impulse and instinct when there's no time to like do your text work that we all did. Like nobody has a month to do text work when you're putting on a new Broadway show or doing an animated show. Like you have to walk in and know your character and trust that you have impulses that will help facilitate the story. So that was the Mean Girls experience that like for me was the most different, was just learning how to like do a show that was constantly in flux as the leading character and just trusting I think I can find my way through this no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The last thing in the world I expected during a Hazbin Hotel ladies night was to hear a Land Before Time reference. But here we are. And it makes all the sense in the world.
Actually, when you asked the scary movie, that was going to be my answer. And I was like, that's not technically a scary movie.
No, but it is. Because I saw that as a teeny tiny child. And that genuinely scared me.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, that's what it made me. When you said that, I was like, I think Land Before Time's a scary movie. But like, that's not really a horror movie. So
for a tiny child, it is. I very much understand that.
It was the most traumatizing.
Your description of Land Before Time made me think of this. Because I know you watched the ladies' night with Ella, and she was the one who brought this up. And now I keep asking this question ever since we spoke. So you mentioned just like not being on steady ground with a new character. So I am curious, when you're playing Charlie, is there any particular scene or moment where like you stopped and said to yourself, like, with this, I have found her?
Ooh. I have to say, I really think it's in episode 4. There's a thing that happens in episode 4 with Angel Dust where she goes basically to Val's like lair and tries to intervene. And I didn't hear any other of the voice actor. I didn't hear any of the cast. But it was that moment where like I understood her weaknesses. And I think that's when you can kind of really crack into a character. When we all understand the thing that's great about our character. But when you can have compassion and awareness of when they're at fault and bring that to life, that was when I thought, oh, I know who this is now. And I love that because that's what makes her fun to play, is like, yeah, she's aggressively kind and optimistic, but she's also really heart forward. She's really fucks up a couple times. She takes responsibility for it. And I think watching that scene in particular, seeing her friend yell at her and seeing how that affected her, I was like, that's a real conflict. And the fact that she's able to process that conflict as opposed to being like, it's fine, I didn't do anything wrong, is when I thought like, oh, I get who this is now. it's how I would respond in conflict all the time. And that was kind of the moment where I thought, okay, this is the linchpin that I will always lean on if I'm having trouble finding my way with Charlie.
It's a pretty exceptional episode.
Such a good episode.
I've watched them all too many times. Every episode is great, but I feel like, and I've heard a lot of other people say this, that particular episode just like adds an unexpected like weight and thematic heft to the show that I don't think you fully see coming at the beginning.
You don't see coming. We really like ease people in with it. It like reminds me of like the Harry Potter books. Like you get to book 4 and you're like, somebody's gonna die? Mm-hmm. Oh shit, like somebody's gonna die. That's how episode 4 is. That's like interesting that she did it. Was the 4th book in the 4th? Yeah. I'm sure that wasn't meant to be Vivienne. Viv, but that fourth episode was kind of, I think for a lot of people where, let alone how good the songs are in that episode, but that was sort of where I think a lot of people found the emotional core of their characters, which is, I think, what we're all excited to keep playing with as the series continues.
This might be too hyper-specific. I don't know if you remember the process in such detail, but is there any particular line of dialogue or even line in a song where like finding the right inflection was especially difficult, where maybe you had to play around with it to find the pitch-perfect way to deliver a line?
I think, that's really interesting. I feel like Ready for This, actually that song was really important because she goes on a journey in that whole song from there's like a speech before and then she sings Ready for This. And there was something about singing that song that tapped into, Charlie had been sort of floating in the soprano-y world for a while. It was like really high, joyful. And that was a song that like is rooted in, to me, it's like watching Charlie become like a woman, so to speak, because she goes from, she's obviously an adult, but then that song for me was the moment where vocally I thought, this has to sit in a different place. Like how she speaks at the top of the song has to be different than how she speaks after. We need to have a different vocal tone to her that is like rooted in grit and rooted in like earthbound as opposed to just I love it here type of stuff. So that, I think that song and that episode for me was also another sort of turning point.
I love that touch so much.
Yeah.
Broader question about the music here.
Yeah.
Going into it, which song did you think would be the toughest to nail? And then ultimately, was it indeed the toughest or did a different one catch you by surprise?
Happy Day in Hell is just a hard frickin' song. That's a hard song.
I'm exhausted listening to it
I'm
for
exhausted.
you.
Like, I forget. And I just remember that's just when that was my first day of recording for the show. And I just walked in and that was just sort of beginner's anxiety being like, I'm going to give him all I got. So I think we recorded it in like 3 takes, which is truly all I think I had in me because then I passed out after that last note. That was really hard and continues to remain to be a hard song. Not necessarily to sing, but like it asks a lot. The song that was also hard was, or like emotionally interesting was, and it's kind of all the stuff with her parents. Like, I really enjoy anytime Charlie has interaction with her dad or with Lilith, via the phone, because it's a person who's been like lost or abandoned by her family, and I think she knows her dad loves her and just like can't show up in the ways he's tried to in the past. And like, I love the way that their relationship expands over the course of season 1, but I really enjoy anytime she leaves a voice. Like what's it called? A voice memo? A voicemail for her mom. Like,
I feel like you don't know it because who leaves a voice message?
Who does that?
Just
Charlie
text.
Does that.
Just text me.
Just text, bitch. Just text your mom. No wonder she's not calling back. But I love all the stuff with her parents. Mm-hmm. That's been really fun to play with. Mm-hmm. And I think like my favorite line is like my favorite line, it wasn't hard to nail, but my favorite line was when Lucifer's like, and I'm gonna fuck you. And that's just blink, blink. It's fuck you up. Yeah. That was my favorite because I just love it. I was like, in 2 lines, I was like, that's the relationship. Fantastic. If that's all we saw, we'd know who they were.
The cadence of that beat, too, because I think it's like he says that, then I think it cuts to Vox who says something. Yeah. And then it's just like the pace is perfect.
It's a perfect moment. It's a perfect Rule of Threes comedy moment. Like, I love it.
Oh, such a good one. And like in general, it blows my mind that voice actors don't record together, but you could still feel the chemistry. And at this point, I've done enough interview watching. Like, that chemistry exists in real life.
Yes.
Like, you all just, I don't know, there's some sort of like, you're all in sync. You're also naturally in sync.
In sync, yes.
None of you knew each other before this.
No, and that's the weird thing
I
is
just
like,
don't understand that.
We were all so nervous to meet one another at the premiere because we just thought like, hope we like one another because we're about to go on this journey. But that is a weird thing thinking about now that we know everyone, going back and watching season 1, it's kind of wild how correct the energy is in every scene. And I'm a perfectionist and like there are little things where I go, oh, if I had known that was the setup, I would have said it this way. But I think it's a testament to we know. Maybe it's Viv and she knows how to cast correctly, but it's like the core of who we are exists in our characters in some way. And so whenever we had a big scene, like there's a couple scenes towards the end of season 1 where it's a big like all skate. It's a bunch of people. And my favorite thing about doing this job has been like realizing what my imagination can do in a room with like no stimulation. Is I don't know what the animation is going to look like. I have no concept of what it's going to look like. I did not know that Charlie had that like fierce battle outfit. Chicken or the egg, I don't know what came first, but I remember being like, if I was a kid in my room imagining this scene, what would it look like? What would Charlie do? What would Vaggie do? Like, and that's been like a really fun thing for me as we've been working on season 2 is creating the visual in my head as like a jumping off point when I go into the voiceover booth. Because we don't see anything. Like, I don't see a rendering. I've seen nothing. I didn't see what Charlie looked like until we'd already wrapped season 1. I obviously had the pilot to go off of, but I knew there was going to be some redesign. So that was really cool. And finding out that other people did that too. And then meeting one another and being like, wait, we're a family. How did that happen? We didn't even know one another before.
You all just seem to get each other. And
yeah.
I love that also. And I've seen a lot of people say this in like comment sections and stuff. You don't just play Charlie. Like, you kind of are Charlie.
We're very similarly coded.
Is there a particular moment in doing the work on season 1 that you even realized to yourself, like, shit, like, I am her?
It's a weird moment because it's actually like the antithesis of what she is most of the time. But the reason I love it is when she says, fuck you, you old... Can I say this? Can I say this?
I mean, I'm not making any rules here.
Fuck you, Susie, you old bitch! Like, I love that because that is how I will not flip until I am pushed. And when I am pushed, I am like people are like, she's so nice, and then she said that. But it's that thing that I believe so deeply about, especially like just women in positions of not being taken seriously. I feel that so deeply as a human being, as a young female, as a nice female in the world. Like, I think kindness a lot of times gets mistaken for stupidity or naivete. And I'm a really big believer that like kindness is a superpower and treating people that way is actually not weak, but sometimes the strongest thing you can do. And when it's taken advantage of and when people mess with it, like I'm getting heated saying this, but this is what I have in common with Charlie is like, don't mess with that. Like, don't underestimate the power of that. And that line in particular, yes, it's super funny, but for me, it like clocked something so deep in like my memory of being a 14-year-old kid, being like bullied and not saying anything and then like finally standing up for myself and the power that comes with that. Again, I know it's like a joke in that episode, but the reason people remember it is because it speaks to something that I think a lot of women and a lot of nice women and just nice young people in general go through is getting pushed to our limit, getting pushed to the expansion of our kindness can bring out that thing of like, no, let me stand my ground and like, don't mess with me just because I happen to be nice or kind or whatever. And that is like my fucking favorite thing about Charlie. Like, I love that about her so much because and it's inspiring to me because I won't always speak up for myself. I won't always ask for what I want in this world or what I want from this world. And I think Charlie does do that in really clear ways when she is pushed to the limit of her kindness. And I think that for me was such a cool moment. I was like, I wish I could have said that to certain people in my life. And I didn't, and I was just kind of back away. And Charlie, getting to play Charlie has sort of unleashed that, the awareness of that thing inside me, which is like, no, you can. Mm-hmm. Maybe you shouldn't say, fuck you, you old bitch, but you can stand up for yourself.
I mean, Susan kind of deserved it.
Susan deserved it. Susan deserved it. I was like, in my past experiences I'm thinking of, I'm like, I would have chosen more eloquent words than that, but Susan deserved it.
I love that answer and like the growth in the character from that, in that respect, because one of the earlier moments that I clocked, I forget the specific line, but it's in the song with Adam, and he dismisses her at one point, and there's like a chuckle from you, and I'm like, oh shit, like like that's probably how I would handle it, just like knowing, but like
but I'm gonna like
not full out like that.
Exactly. I love your connection from that moment to the end. It's like those, I think, are mirror images of one another in a really cool way. Like I just think it's so easy to. I think it's so. Charlie can so easily be boxed into a corner of like she's just like the fun, optimistic person, but like she's a badass. And my favorite. I hit it. But that's those are the elements that I've enjoyed so much of getting to play her. And like I get these like cute little, I always wear them anytime. I get like these cute little friendship bracelets from all of the fans when we do cons. And the girl who gave me this one, which I remember, she was like, I love Charlie so much because she's kind, and I think it's hard to be kind in this world. And like she's a warrior to me. And I was like, you get me.
Yes, it's true. You're all like pros at the con scene too.
We love it.
I watched one of your panels. It's like the perfect vibe, and also because anybody who shows up at that thing, like they gotta buy the ticket, they gotta buy the hotel, like everything to go there and see their favorite people. So when I see a group of artists like you give so strongly to the people in that crowd, like. Applaud you all day for that.
It's the greatest job in the world. This is like the gratitude thing. I'm like, the fact that people are showing up to just hear us talk about the characters, like we're not even performing. We're just talking about this thing that...
You all perform a little bit, though.
We perform a little bit. We perform a little bit. Somebody always has to sing something. We usually make Blake do it. We're like, you sing. But yeah, we love the cons.
All right. Ready to get dangerous now?
I'm so ready.
Time.
Let's get dangerous.
So,
okay.
Season 2. You already mentioned.
I just started sweating. Okay.
It is a little hot in here.
Because you said dangerous. I was like, what's going to happen? Okay.
So you already mentioned that you're working on Season 2. Yes. How far into your work on Season 2 are you?
Pretty far.
Okay. Pretty far. I'll take that. You're just going to keep looking in that direction.
Yeah, pretty far. And I'm trying to think of anything I can give you that doesn't... We're far. Okay. We're far, and I think people are going to be... I just think people are going to be really excited by Season 2. We go in some new directions.
I'll take that.
Yes.
Viv's coming in after you, so...
Viv might totally blow.
She's going to get the heavier questions. I'm playing a little nice now.
Yeah, play softball with me.
What is a new quality that Charlie gains in Season 1 that you have found especially fulfilling to tap into for the first time in Season 2?
That's a really good question. I think the fact that she can be hurt. Like you don't really see her get hurt by anything until we find out the reveal of Vaggie. And I think that was interesting to play with. And vocally that's fun to play with because I don't know, it's like what does Charlie sound like when she's heartbroken or betrayed? So I'm excited to have that come up again in Season 2.
Okay. So that's a quality of the character. Now, what about a quality of your voice work? Something about what she has been through and what she gained as a person in Season 1 that might change the tone of her voice a little in Season 2?
There is a song in Season 2 that I cannot tell you where it is or what it is, but it's kind of like the dark night of the soul part of the hero's journey, which... Like, we brushed the surface of that in Season 1, but we go there in Season 2. And the way it landed in my voice, it's the way I've always wanted to be asked to sing. It's just not, I sound like, again, a woodland creature, like when I'm talking to you on this mic. So it's not what's usually asked of me. But Sam and Andrew wrote this song, and I was like, is this what I think this moment is vocally? And they said yes. Like what your instinct is telling you of what this is, or like I pictured, like I remembered being 12 years old and not 12 years old. How old was I? Remember like the first time I heard Lady Gaga sing, basically. And being like, what is that noise? Like, what is that noise? What is coming from her body? What is that? And being like, people sing like that? I want to sing like that. And we get a little taste of that. And I'm excited. I hope there's more of that for Charlie and for really anybody, like that type of grit.
That's an A+ tease. I feel like I shouldn't push too much more after that. I'll try to ask one more question, and this might be like a dangerous question, given the fact that you're already working. I feel like I usually ask something like this before someone has even seen scripts for a new season.
Okay.
But who do you think Charlie will benefit from spending more time with in season 2?
Emily. I can't say why.
Okay. I want that.
Emily.
I want that.
And I think Emily would benefit from spending more time, and I think Emily will benefit from spending more time with Charlie.
I will go as far to say I think heaven and hell would benefit from those two spending more time together as well.
Yes, exactly.
All right, you're off the hook.
I'm off the hook.
It's the last question of Ladies' Night.
Oh
I feel like you know this one. This is my.
Do I get to roll again?
Oh no, I'll let you roll again right after this. But you gotta answer this question.
Okay.
I've gotten in the habit of ending every Ladies' Night interview with this because it's important and nobody thinks about it. Everybody gives each other awards in Hollywood, and that's super cool. And I think we should keep doing that.
Yes.
Nobody says good job to themselves nearly enough. So I want you to pick something specific you did in Hazbin season 1 that you know you can look back on and say, I am so proud of what I did there.
I know. I love this question. Nobody does this. Wow, is it so hard? I want to say a good job to myself for. I had not done this before. I had not led a voice. I had not been a leading voice actor on literally anything. And I walked in on the first day and let the fear and the not knowing be a joyful experience as opposed to a anxiety-inducing experience. And I'm really proud, and this is like advice for everybody. You know more than you think you know. And if you can just trust like who you are and what you bring to the table, and don't be afraid of looking stupid and asking questions, like you will find yourself on the other side of that unknown entity and be really fucking proud of what you did when you look back. And that's how I feel. I was like, and that sounds weird because I'm like, I'm proud of the whole season, but I'm really proud of that first day of like, I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what I had, like, I knew how big the show was. But I did not know how the day was going to go. And I kind of just like charged through the storm and was not afraid to look like an idiot sometimes and say, Richard Horvitz, what did you just ask me to do? I don't understand. And I let the trial and error be something that was fun to learn, to be like, I can be worthy of being here and also be a beginner, and both things can exist at the same time. So I'm proud that I was able to do that in that moment instead of panicking and being like, never mind.
I could feel worthy of being here while being a beginner. It's
Yes.
such like an important thing to think
Yes.
about. And I feel like you're a beginner at every stage of your career,
Yes.
of your life, no matter what. It's such a good thing. I'm gonna back pocket that.
I'm back pocketing it for myself like for all time, because it's just like you're never gonna know everything. Like, so you have to lead with like a little.
It's the best thing in the world to recognize that too.
Yes.
I'm never going to know everything.
You're never going to know. So
You
like
know
that
what?
feeling of not being sure is actually a great thing to lean into.
You know what I know with certainty right now?
We're gonna
You're
roll
getting
again.
one more roll on the tower. What is it going to be?
7 again.
7. Okay, we can't do 7 again.
Okay, good. 7! Wait, if I was playing...
If only it was a 666.
I was going to say. I was like, that would have been so exciting. 2. Didn't we do 2?
No, we didn't. Oh, shit, we did do 2.
Wait, what's wrong with me? 1.
1. Okay. No, yeah. Oh, we did do
didn't-
2. One is favorite film. This is also like kind of a has-been question. I turned it into a has-been question.
Love.
I wanted to know, what is your favorite film of all time, and what do you think Charlie's favorite film would be?
Oh my God. I think, and I don't know if it's because of the Somewhere Over the Rainbow element, I do think Charlie loves a classic. I do think she would love The Wizard of Oz. Like deeply. I don't know why. I think like there's something about the music when she loves. But like also the concept of like being home and returning home, and the little 3 people in Wizard of Oz remind me of like some of the hotel staff. And my favorite movie of all time. Do I even know my favorite movie of all time? You like always think you have this answer in the back of your head, and then you're asked, you're like, fuck, I don't know. Oh, Monsters, Inc. is actually my favorite movie of all time.
What a lovely pick.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so happy.
It's just perfect. I think it's a perfect, the imagination utilized to create Monsters, Inc. is so brilliant. The concept of the laugh, the scream to laugh energy harnessing, like it feeds my like weird science brain as well, that I'm like, this is a tech movie. Like this is about... When I first saw it, that's not what I thought Monsters, Inc. was about. But the fact that Monsters, Inc. is somehow about, like, renewable energy at the same time as being
it kind of is.
It kind of is. I was like, I love it. Like, the themes go so deep in Monsters, Inc., and I love it.
Yeah. Just like that with WALL-E.
With WALL-E, that's the thing. But WALL-E's more on the nose about it. Monsters, Inc., I feel
more
like
on the nose,
it
yeah,
really
for sure.
slides it in a way that,
or like something like Inside Out, where it's like bright, bubbly characters, but really it's about a lot of like...
It's about a lot
like,
more.
deep, like, human things and challenges.
It's my favorite. It is why it's like when you ask favorite film, it's like a lot of my favorite films are like the Pixar or animated movies in general, just because I think there's something, and it's why Hazbin works so well. It's like you lead people in with this thing that looks really approachable and like this will just be fun and silly, and then you like that's the best way to deliver message to me is like through the Trojan horse of animation, because there's something about animation that because it's not somebody's live face, like they can project themselves onto it however they want, because you're watching Charlie or you're watching Sully. Like you're not watching Jennifer Garner's name is what came to my brain. It's like you're aware like I'm not that actress, but we can all be an element of Alistair or an element of Dory in Finding Nemo. Like that's why I think animation is so... I think that's why it hits people so deep, because they can like put themselves in the character more easily because it's not a real person. Ugh. That's why, like, it's magic. It's magic.
I mean, like, I feel like you're kind of articulating why Hazbin is so special and why it's caught on so much. Yeah. I'm going to say huge congratulations on everything you've accomplished on Hazbin and everything coming your way in the future. It probably goes without saying, but anytime you want to come back to Ladies' Night, I feel like it could have gone on and on.
Wait,
I was like getting nervous. I have so many more questions.
Oh my God, wait. I'm so sorry. I talk too much?
No.
I always talk too much.
This is great.
I always forget. I know. I'm always like, we're just here to chat, right? I'm like, wait, you have like probably very well-researched questions that I didn't answer.
I love when someone shows up and talks too much, because hopefully that means they're comfortable and happy to be here, and also because it means that you have to come back and we have to do a round two.
We'll do a part two. We'll do a part two. We'll start with we'll do a part 2 and we're gonna hit all of them. I feel like
I need to come with double the amount of dicey questions.
I love a dicey question. I love being in the hot seat.
This dice tower will always be here for you.